everyone. Welcome to Webinar 1, How to Use the Community Engagement Almanac, developed by TYTHEdesign, in partnership with the Bureau of Harlem Neighborhood Health, a part of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. TYTHEdesign provides social impact strategies that help build the capacity of government, nonprofits, and foundations to foster healthy communities and resilient cities. Part 1. The story of the Community Engagement Almanac with Kristina Drury, principal of TYTHEdesign.
So this project came about as a response to the challenges of COVID, having to shift all of our work from in-person to the digital sphere. When the COVID pandemic began and the community engagement had to shift, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene asked TYTHEdesign to work with them to document and develop a set of best practices to support their team and the community more broadly. We've collaborated with the Department of Health for years, providing trainings, and we saw this as a great opportunity to collaborate in response to the changes that we were seeing around us.
Part 2. How to approach the Almanac. The Community Engagement Almanac is intended to be a hands-on guide and not one you read from beginning to end. Start by asking yourself, what am I looking for? Divided into 4 parts, the Almanac aims to support you, your staff, and potential collaborative partners in 3 main areas: planning, skill building, and finding inspiration. We encourage you to start with the introduction to orient yourself to the layout of the toolkit and familiarize yourself with talking points around the value of community engagement and the spectrum of engagement, which you'll hear more about later in the webinar. We'll be walking through the Almanac in order, but remember, every part stands alone. Are you looking for concrete support in planning your next community engagement? Then you'll want to start with Part 2, Tools and Assessments, featuring a purpose and planning tool, an equity and inclusion assessment, and a Find Your Format tool. You can learn more about each of these in our upcoming webinars. But if you're looking for a thorough resource to onboard new staff, refocus your energies as an organization, or brush up on your skills, then the mini guides are the place for you. There are 8 in total, and they all stand alone. Planning, evaluation, facilitation, anti-oppression, inclusion, and accessibility, and 4 mini guides to support various engagement formats: virtual, phone and SMS, physically distant, and hybrid. Designed to support skills development on a variety of topics, the mini guides offer best practices, tips, resources, and checklists to support capacity building within your organization. Are you looking for some inspiration to spice up your virtual engagements after long months of Zooming, or lead in-person engagements while still keeping socially distant? The catalog of ideas offers you a variety of suggestions to help increase your presence online, meet safely in person, and more. You'll notice that the catalog is organized using the spectrum of engagement, so you can decide which methods will work best to meet your organization's needs. If you're really stumped as to how to collaborate meaningfully when we can't gather safely in close quarters, consider harnessing the power of video conferencing to host a community storytelling event. Or maybe you feel like your Zoom meetings are losing steam. The Creative Workshop section on page 89 can help turn things around. Part 3, the spectrum of engagement.
Community engagement can range from simply informing the public about plans for a project to participating in a more ongoing practice, like getting feedback from various groups or empowering key stakeholders in final decision-making processes. Developed by the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, the spectrum of engagement provides the framing for the Community Engagement Almanac. The spectrum is divided into 4 categories: being informed through outreach, being engaged through consultation or collaboration, and being empowered through shared leadership. Outreach is engagement with a purpose of informing and building the awareness of your stakeholders. This interaction is usually one-directional, with information flowing from your organization to stakeholders, with little space for collaboration. Common methods for outreach include mailing, phone, email, or social media campaigns, canvassing or tabling in public, or press releases. Consultation is about gathering insights and feedback from the community. More bi-directional information is presented to stakeholders who then give feedback or input. Consultation could involve surveying and polling or interviews and focus groups. If you're involving stakeholders in a co-design process of idea generation and decision-making, that's collaboration. These interactions get stakeholders to support community buy-in of an initiative. It helps to build trust and long-term partnerships. Facilitated workshops and roundtable discussions are ways to achieve collaboration. Shared leadership aims to distribute ownership of the process and project that included some form of participatory decision-making with stakeholders. This is a process that takes time to build, but in doing so, all stakeholders take collective responsibility and ownership of the outcomes. Shared leadership can be achieved through partnership development and microgrants for community projects, among other long-term initiatives. Throughout the Almanac, we refer to the spectrum of engagement to support you in making decisions and planning depending upon your expectations for the level of participation in your stakeholders. While it may help to frame the Almanac for you, you will still find value in the various sections of the Almanac, even if you aren't tying it back to this framework.
Part 4, Planning, Tools and Assessments. Now that we've reviewed the whole Almanac, let's jump into each section in more detail, starting with the planning tools. While thorough planning might feel like a daunting task, front-loading your engagements will ensure that you are setting and achieving clear goals and that everyone involved is on the same page. The Purpose and Planning tool is intended to clarify your goals and frame your expectations before diving into the specifics of the event. Using this tool as a discussion guide with your team will open the door for meaningful conversations around why your engagement is important. The tool is divided into 5 parts. Part 1 focuses on establishing a clear purpose to help you determine what type of engagement will best suit your needs. Part 2 helps you set goals around engagement and evaluation, while Part 3 provides you with prompts to define your anticipated outputs or what you hope to gain from the engagement. It's only in Part 4 where you begin to discuss who you want to include in your engagement. Who are the stakeholders you want to reach? This part will also introduce you to barriers to engagement, which you can explore further in the Equity Inclusion Assessment and the mini guide for anti-oppression, inclusion, and accessibility. Both of these are covered in great detail in Webinar 3. Part 5 addresses your team's capacity for the engagement to ensure that you can achieve the goals you're laying out. Once you've established the purpose of your engagement, we think it's important to have an honest conversation with your team about accessibility. We suggest planning your engagements with this front of mind to ensure that you are truly reaching all community stakeholders. The Equity and Inclusion Assessment picks up once you've determined what level of participation you expect from your stakeholders, returning us, once again, to the spectrum of engagement: outreach, consultation, collaboration, and shared leadership. This planning tool challenges your team to address equity at each level of engagement, building on one another. So once you determine that you want to achieve shared leadership, you'll want to be sure to have discussed the answers in outreach, consultation, and collaboration first. If you and your team are completing these tools in order, which isn't necessary, just recommended, then it's time to find your format. Using the results of your planning conversations around purpose and accessibility, use the Almanac's handy-dandy flowchart to determine the best format for your engagement. Then you're ready to start planning the details. This is a great time to jump to the mini guides for more on virtual, phone, in-person, or hybrid engagement, or the catalog of ideas to get some inspiration for where to start. Part 5, Skills Development, Mini Guides. The fourth section of the Community Engagement Almanac includes 8 standalone mini guides to help build capacity within your team. Each guide offers tips, tricks, and best practices that you can implement immediately. You'll find context on each topic, a checklist to guide your process, and sources to further your learning. Mini Guide for Planning Engagements. Build your capacity to identify your purpose, build your agenda, and plan for a productive and inclusive environment. Find support incorporating participatory decision-making and arts and culture to broaden the impact of your engagement. Mini Guide for Engagement Evaluation. Often an afterthought, this mini guide will remind you why evaluation is an essential component of any engagement. Use the resources and catalog of ideas for data collection to explore a wide range of evaluations to meet the needs and capacity of your organization. Mini guide for facilitation. Almost like a workshop on the page, this mini guide is a great tool to brush up on your facilitation skills for our current times or support a new hire. With a crash course on the roles and responsibilities of a strong facilitator and strategies for supporting productive dialogue, this mini guide goes hand in hand with creating a safe, equitable space for stakeholders. Oppression, inclusion, and accessibility. Now is the perfect time to build capacity within your organization around equity. This mini guide will provide a starting point to understanding barriers to engagement and access by providing context and resources to support your learning. Our mini guides for virtual, phone and SMS, and physically distant engagement provide specific support for planning and facilitating each type of engagement, including strategies and opportunities and limitations associated with each. You'll also find further ideas for incorporating arts and culture, virtual dance parties, participatory decision-making, interactive text messaging surveys, and creative brainstorming and collaboration, butcher paper murals to keep a safe distance. And that's on top of the best practices, checklists, and resources that you'll find across all 8 mini guides. Our final mini guide will walk you through your decision to offer a hybrid engagement. Now that it's safer to gather in person, your team might be eager to host in-person events, but it's important to consider the barriers to participation that may still exist for many of your stakeholders. This mini guide addresses the various considerations in opting for this type of engagement and the distinction between a single hybrid engagement event and a longer hybrid process. Part 6, Inspiration, Catalog of Ideas. If you're picking up the Community Engagement Almanac to get inspiration for your own engagement events, then the Catalog of Ideas is a great place to start. Organized by engagement format, virtual, phone or SMS, or in person, you'll find the spectrum of engagement to really come in handy here. Each idea is coded to help you visualize how to best support stakeholder engagement at the level your team is aiming for: outreach, consultation, collaboration, or shared leadership. Each catalog is divided into 3 categories: outreach methods, individual engagement methods, or group engagement methods. You'll find context, suggested ways to implement the method, and resources to support you. Say you're looking for an untapped virtual outreach method to reach stakeholders with limited digital literacy. Consider the age-old strategy of radio. You'd be surprised at the impact a radio interview, advertisement, or feature can have for those who spend less time on social media than your average millennial. If you're looking for ideas to engage one-on-one, then look no further than the power of the telephone to conduct interviews. Before the days of video calls, phone calls were the way we told stories and connected across the globe. Bring it back to reach your stakeholders. If your existing space is too small to accommodate social distancing, but you want to find a way to engage a group of people in person, imagine hosting a workshop in an unexpected location. Consider the hundreds of spaces that go unused across the city every day. Perhaps there's a coffee shop in your community that closes at 3 p.m., or a performance space that's dark on Mondays and Tuesdays. Utilizing an unusual location could be just the compromise you need to host in-person workshops while keeping everyone safe. We encourage you to explore this toolkit and take advantage of all of its unique components. We also offer key sections of the Almanac in Spanish. Check back for our future Almanac webinars for deep dives into planning, facilitating, and evaluating, anti-oppression, equity, accessibility, and inclusion, and community engagement formats. Future webinars will feature community members who will share their experiences. Until then, thank you for joining us for this Community Engagement Almanac webinar.